Who qualifies to be a lecturer?
How best can we build a brand?
You cannot build your brand while achieving another person's vision.
With majority of the students graduating, we've seen recent graduates, we've been seeing the statistics, and we are already informed that it is really hard out there when you don't have connections, when you don't have the marks that they want. But today we are going to see the impact of personal brand. Can your brand speak for you even when people are not mentioning your name? Can someone just go and type your name on any search engine and find information about you without necessarily coming to look for you? That is the whole essence of personal brand. Today I am being joined by Mr. Lambert Ayebare, who is an academic and researcher with Makerere University. He holds a bachelor's degree from Makerere University Business School and a master's degree in procurement and supply chain management from Makerere University, where he graduated as the best student in both respective universities. Professionally, he is a lecturer in the Faculty of Procurement and Logistics Management at Makerere University Business School. He is also a recognized voice on professional development, frequently advocating for the critical balance between academic excellence and the cultivation of strong professional character. He is also the founder of the Academia Space Uganda, where he seeks to improve access to quality education and empower young people through mentorship. He aspires to contribute to a better world by teaching, mentoring, and educating the youth. Ouch. That's big bio. I don't know what stood out for you, but to me personally, it is more about empowerment. And also, he is a young lecturer, guys. He is a young lecturer. So we can put him in the category of people who have made it in life. Good to have you, Sir Lambert.
Thank you so much. She forgot to also tell you that she's my friend.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be on your space. I'm happy to speak to people because that's what I yearn for. As you read in the bio, I seek to make an impact, to extend impact to any level. So thank you so much for giving me a chance to be on this table, extending impact. I'm happy to be here.
Good to have you. So you are not the only person who made it in your cohort among the people who had graduated and excelled. But still, Makerere University went ahead to hire you as a lecturer. Could it be maybe because you have, that connection? Or are we also trying to see the whole aspect of personal branding play a big role in your hiring?
Thank you so much. To start with, I would like to thank you for that topic that you have chosen. Personal branding. It's very wide. I don't know how long we can discuss it.
Okay.
But let me go to your question. Did it play a big role? There are very many people in my class that excelled. But then the first question I need to first ask you and the viewers, who qualifies to be a lecturer? Maybe you can ask that to the university or to the public service. Who qualifies to be a lecturer? There is no course called Bachelors of Lecturing.
True.
So meaning there is something unique. Probably some say lecturing or teaching is from God.
Yeah.
But then I say then, why in secondary and primary, people that are employed by public service actually study education, bachelors of education. I'm not pinpointing to how we are employed. What I'm trying to do, or what I'm trying to say is in line with the topic, is who qualifies to be a lecturer? And how can you make it to be a lecturer? Let me give you an example. 7, probably if I remember very well, bachelor's level, had the first class in my cohort. I am the only one who became the lecturer. But then, if I answer your question very well, you should have found out that in the same time, in my 3 years at the university, I did not spend them in class. That I am in class, I am looking for a first class, or I want to be a lecturer. No, I am actually a former education minister of the same university.
Okay.
I am also a former member of Senate of Makerere University. because the education minister qualifies to sit on Senate or to be a senator. As people say, once a senator, always a senator.
Okay.
But that also answers to your cause. That on top of that first class I've told you, Nkuru and the viewers, there was a Lambert who was an education minister. There was a Lambert who was a member of Senate. Or, by the way, who was a GRC from year one. So let me say, from day one, there is that young boy who is in class trying to read books, but also to lead people. So the world has that perception about you from day one. So answering your question, yes, I have a feeling it's only not the books that gave me the job of lecturing, but probably the institution watched me from day one.
Okay, that's beautiful. So in layman's language, the language where we can all understand, how do you explain personal branding? Because someone can choose to say it's labeling or naming, but now we are trying to see how we can stand out in the crowded market, where we have over 1,000 graduates graduating in the same course with good marks. But we need to have that extra. So how can you explain personal branding?
What comes into people's minds when your name is mentioned? That's it. What comes into people's minds when your name is mentioned? Be it you are in that space, be it you're not in that space, is your brand. There are people where when the name is mentioned, people run away. And they ask questions like, is he around? If you wanted to know your brand, make sure you're not in a space and your name is mentioned. There is something people have to know you for. So in a simple layman's understanding, it goes back the same statement I told you. What comes into people's minds when your name is mentioned? You are Nkuru, I am Lambert. If we left this space, as people are watching, when you put this podcast out there, what will be in the comment section is your brand. As very many people say, it is the name you have worked for. It is what you have done for the community. Yes, all that adds up to one thing, the brand you have built. Okay? And that is what comes into people's minds when your name is mentioned. Yes.
So now that we have learned that personal brand is what comes to people's mind when your name is mentioned, and now we are trying to strategize how best can we build a brand.
Now probably if we're in class, we'll bring a whiteboard here with a marker, then we go to the process of building a brand. No, it is simple. You have to have a vision. There is no way you can build a personal brand without a vision. And that is personal. That is personal. That's why the topic is personal branding.
Yeah.
You cannot capture someone's vision. You cannot build your brand while achieving another person's vision. It has to be my vision. There are my goals. There are my courses of actions. Because my actions, if I'm to build a brand that has to stick, then my actions should speak to my goals, the little 1 month, 2 months, half a year, 1 year goals, until my vision. Let me take you back. You asked a very good question, but I just answered chapter.
Okay.
But don't you think at a certain time T, it reached a level and I felt it within me that I should stay in the university?
Actually.
But I cannot tell it to you. Because if I was building my personal brand, there are some goals that stick to your heart, to the main goal, which is your vision. So one of the most important things in building a brand is that you should sit down alone. Probably if you have a mentor, you can talk to them. But you sit down and craft your way of life. Nkuru, after all, by the way, we have limited time on earth. Therefore, the limited time we have on earth, live with a brand. There's a joke my former headmaster mentioned on an assembly at school. At least before, he was talking to senior citizens, at least before you leave this school, do something. It came to my mind. And he went ahead sarcastically and said, at least if you can't do right, do wrong. But don't just be here for 6 years and we cannot remember you. I know that was sarcastic. It's okay. But he meant something. That right now, after years of leaving high school, it makes sense. That at least do something, but that thing has to be in line with your vision. Because there's no brand without achievement. There is no brand without achievement. And people might argue about that and have no problem because we have our personal opinions. But there is no brand without achievement. All these brands that are products that we have seen is because it has made it to the last person who has taken that soda. And he said, no, me, I drink this kind of soda. Okay? I can't mention their names probably. They should first give you an advance. Then I mention it. But there's that soda you take. It only made its way up to be a brand because it made it to the last customer. Therefore, if you want to build a brand, have a vision, then work towards that vision. And before you know it, a brand will create itself, will build itself. Because there's no one who wakes up and says, I want to be a very good artist. No, you wake up, you go to the studio, you try. You make one song, people don't understand it. You make another song, people don't understand it. The third song is understood in the central. The fourth song, even those who don't know the language, start jamming to it. Then you say, oh, he's a brand. No. There's a time he actually sang a song and no one understood. So in short, have a vision, have goals, have your courses of action. Slowly by slowly, the brand drives itself automatically.
That's beautiful. It now takes me to the whole issue of consistency. We have seen people start things, but then we fail. And like you've said, there is always that one point, but we are struggling to accept that we can start in the messy middle. How do we, as we are trying to develop our brands, how can we align consistency with perfectionism? Or there is nothing like perfectionism? Should we eliminate perfectionism if we want to be consistent?
You started with consistency.
Yes.
And you brought in perfectionism. Cool. At least I'm happy I'm being hosted by a friend. That could be wrapped up and we discuss the role of resilience in brand building. If you know how many people out there are trying to make a living, if you know how many people there are trying to make a name for themselves, young. We have seen of recent a group of content creators meet with the Fountain of Honor and they made their argument. And the Fountain of Honor gave them something. You can't argue otherwise, but they are trying to show the president, yes, mainstream media is there, but we can also communicate with our phones. You get it? But do you know how many people fail in that process? Of course, there are those that are not going to get part of that money because probably they have not yet made it. Consistency is hard. It is hard. That's why I don't fancy it. I fancy resilience. The ability to fall down and the capability to stand up and keep moving. I get it. We have had brands being dragged to court and they come back, be it they have lost the case, be it they have not lost the case, and they come back and they still serve the customers. How do they do it? We have seen students who have been leaders. They run seek to lead students. Students give them the mantle to go in offices and lead. They reach in offices and they mess up. But the same leaders make it to the national level. Even when they messed up when they are still students. Student leaders who messed up still make it to the national level. How? It's because the brand is to be a leader. The rest in the middle there are failures, and we need to address failures. And one of the ways is to inculcate the spirit of resilience. Then, because of that resilience, for you, the outside world, you say he is consistent. He was a guild president. Now he is a member of parliament. He has made it to be a chief judge. You forget that when he was a guild president, he was dragged to court for misappropriation of funds.